Hi everybody, my name is Gustaf Kranck and I'm the CEO and founder of Vagus Health in Cambridge, UK. We're a health device company doing vagus nerve diagnostics. And I want to talk to you about our newly launched watch, which is measuring the vagal tone. So why would you want to know that? Well, a lot of you, millions, have experience from Fitbit or Garmin or Apple Watches where you measure something called heart rate variability and you follow recovery. That is an approximate value which has its uses, but we needed something much better for our medical development, and so we developed this smartwatch where we have a Vagus ECG test. This one tells not only about your heart rate but about your breathing, and this is the totally new thing. We are the first one having such. So we can see with the Vagus test, which is only 90 seconds, we see exactly your breathing and we see exactly your heart rate, how it varies, how it synchronizes. And why would you need that? Yes, because it tells much more about your general state of health, about how your interventions are doing, if certain medicine, if certain food is helping you against depression, anxiety, and generally immune system improvement, or just in sports, how is your recovery? Is this a good time to go and run a marathon? The data is critically important for our watch. We get much more precise data and we analyze it in the cloud. So we have big data, big AI, which can learn from your past data. And this is, all of this is something which nobody has done before. And I think you're gonna love the way we give you information, what is good for you, and you will see a totally new dimension in your body, your nervous system, and you learn and you can improve. Thanks. So, hi everybody. My name is Gustaf Kranck. I'm the CEO of Vagus Health, and today's subject is going to be the vagus nerve and how to measure it, or also about what to do a little bit about it, but the main is about how to diagnose and measure it. So before I maybe go into those details, you maybe wonder why I'm talking about this and what's my story, and it's quite simple. It's like many others. I had a burnout in 2010. And a board member in my industrial group helped me to get to something called Vipassana meditation, and it helped me a lot. I always say it saved my life. But subsequently, I also decided to devote my time and energy to find a technical solution. So in that sense, as an engineer, and I sold my industrial group. I've the past 9 years now, full time, worked on this problem, and it's of course quite a task, but it's a lovely task, and I enjoy doing it a lot. The vagus nerve, of course, is what I think the most important nerve. It's the eat and pray. Many know that it's the kind of relax and in a way the good guy, which is helping us to survive for a little bit longer than just when the lion is chasing. And well, if you look at it structurally, it goes from the brainstem, it goes to the gut, it goes to the intestines, it goes everywhere. It's called vagus because it's wandering, it's long, and it's of course extremely important because it takes care of an enormous amount of information and instructions between the brainstem, the brain, and the organs. But what I'm and then the reason why we do these diagnostics, why I came into this sector, was because we first developed vagus stimulation, actually for myself, for anxiety, depression attacks, and so forth, on the neck and in the ear, in order to activate the vagus nerve. So we work, and we still do. We have hundreds of prototypes out testing, but they are not commercial yet. But we've done for 7 years already research into this, so we are slowly getting better at it. It's not a simple task, but quite early we discovered that for some people it worked, some others didn't, and we couldn't understand why it worked for some. And then it also had kind of different periodicity, so some people just continued to be fine, and for some it kind of wear off period after a time, a month or a couple of months. So very early we understood we need to be able to diagnose the vagus nerve better. We need to know what's the difference between people and how do they react to the stimulation. So first, of course, we tried different heart rate variability factors, the EEGs and so forth, and we couldn't obtain meaningful data from them. It's because in vagus stimulation we need very rapid feedback loops, and we need to understand it's specifically about the vagus nerve and not the cognitional change or something like that. So we developed the hand-to-hand ECG already 7 years ago, because that one, as we know, is the prime indicator which is possible to measure traditionally the heart rate variability. But with heart rate variability we couldn't use it. It was just too inexact, and it demands such a long time periods. So it didn't fulfill our demands for a neurofeedback loop, especially to do research on what we do. So we had to develop our own, and I'm also a yoga practitioner, and quite soon we discovered that we could see pranayama. It means control breathing with this ECG. It's because there is a old effect, which is a amplitude change on deep breathing can be seen in hand-to-hand ECG. This is what we discovered. It can be seen on the chest, and traditional ECGs in the same way. So it just is possible on this hand-to-hand ECG. And subsequently then developed the algorithms and a lot of ways to look at the respiration and the heart, because that is the main thing we think still is what we need to look at when we look at the vagus nerve, because we can't access gut data from the vagus nerve. Nobody can, and so this is the available data to tell whether or not the vagus nerve is doing fine. Then, of course, when we still talk about the vagus, I want to always remind people of the work, for instance, what Kevin Tracy's team at Feinstein is doing about the cholinergic immune system, which is so. In these times, we know that the immune issues are very important, and the vagus nerve is nowadays considered, of course, as the prime second immune system. We have the molecular immune system, and then we have the neurological immune system, which is the cholinergic immune reflex. And Professor Stacy has worked on that for a long time with hundreds of study papers. So we know that a cytokine storm is very tightly tied to the vagus nerve. So the cytokine storm, of course, is the one which is the most usual cause of death in coronavirus. But so let's come back to what we do. So we built algorithms and a lot of, let's say, deep analytics on the hand-to-hand ECG in a specific environment. So I developed, then we moved to Cambridge 3 years ago in a private immune lab, where we developed this and had a study of this test, and specifically then brought it down to a specific protocol which we use in our devices. And then, since we couldn't get somebody else, we built our own watch to get this. So that's called the Vagus ECG Watch. So it's specifically built for this test, which is a 90 seconds test, 30 seconds first normal breathing, and then 60 seconds control breathing. And with this test, we then are able to understand much more about the vagus nerve than has previously been able to get data out of it, because it incorporates a lot of the respiratory and the cardiac issues which are necessary in order to understand how well the vagus nerve is doing and how it reacts to different things. And so this is the test you see here. We specifically do a lot with You can see in the graph there's a blue line and a red line. That's how the breathing is doing and how the cardiac changes, because when you breathe in, the vagus nerve lets go of the control, so the pulse goes up, and when you breathe out, the pulse goes down. And we look specifically how is the breathing separated from the heart, and how are these patterns, how it's going, and this is possible to do with our Vagus test. So a lot of the work this far has been on developing this kind of data and developing means for it to become useful for the client and for our business clients and consumer clients. And we have an app where you can see a lot of the graphics and so forth, and then we also have a premium service called Neurotech2020 Cloud Access, where we can look at a lot of the features. You can see the data, you can download the data and so forth. So these are kind of what we think is really useful for the client. Here I'm just then presenting. We have already done thousands, 10,000 tests, so we have a lot of interesting findings already, and you see we basically can divide the results in four groups. You have a healthy, good vagal tone up there in the left, and then the breathing can be fine, but there is a cardiac issue. You can see on the red line it's something we then can see from this. If we see this, we quite often then, if it repeats over several days, we send the client to a cardiologist. The other possibility is the breathing is not going. There are many interesting issues, neurological factors there, and then we have that neither of them work okay, and in many cases there's autonomic nervous system health problems, also just severe stress. This is something where we already have a lot of data, but we hope to get much more, and partners and so forth. For your information, we initially launched this only with our own watch because we couldn't get data, but now Apple has we have access now to the Apple Watch ECG, so we will launch here in a few weeks app on Apple Watch. It's going to be a quite quick test. It's a 30 seconds test, but we already have been able to it is difficult, but we have very excellent analytics, AI and so forth, so it's going to be quite awesome, and there's going to be a wellness assistant on the watch itself, and it's we think it's going to be quite useful, very useful for a lot of you, so please have a look at it. It's something where we can also work partnerships and help neurostimulation companies to open APIs to see if they get data and so forth. So either on the B2B side where we sell watches, that's a pro version where you can get a lot of data directly, or then the Apple Watch version where there's a lot of users, so you can apply it to or we can apply it with you to a lot of end users. But anyhow, yeah, this was a short time. So this is, if you're interested in the watch, we put a coupon Neurotech2020, you get a 20% discount. So you can go into our shop at vagus.co. If you're interested in so, then you have the email here. Just put me an email if you're interested in cooperation and want to learn to know more. So thank you very much for listening and looking at this, and I wish you an excellent day and a really nice conference.